slide it out through here. I don't know if that will be the way, because remember it's going to have lugs that go inside there. So I'm hoping I can then whip it out for this side. If not, on this side I might have to take out the condense trap and try and get it out this side if I can't do the other side. But let's deal with one issue at a time. Welcome back to this week's video. Thanks for tuning in. Now obviously I'm in a slightly different area than what you guys are used to seeing me in. I'm not in my house, I'm not in my shed, I'm not in my van. I'm in my parents' garage, and the reason why is because I've just brought the kids over. They're somewhere out there having some fun. Sun's out, so brought them over to my mum and dad so that they can spend a bit of time with them. They haven't seen them all week, so it's nice for them to catch up as well. So I thought let me quickly get this intro video done and then head out and spend a bit of time with them. And also you probably notice DeWalt. I'm sure there's some more DeWalt stuff around here somewhere. That's where my love for DeWalt comes from. It's been passed down to me from my dad. So naturally, I just stayed with the DeWalt line and just upgraded my power tools, got bigger batteries and stuff like that. This week's video is a beloved Vokera, which we all love to work on. Not. But to be fair, do you know what? We say that, I say that, you know, we don't like working on Worcesters. We don't like, I've never worked on a Ferroli, but I've heard bad things about them. Another brand of boilers, but ultimately a boiler's a boiler. There are positives and negatives about each boiler. This one, to be fair, it wasn't that bad to work on, but it's because I had a lot of space around it to work on. If it was in the cupboard, probably would have been a different story. You see what the problem was as the video continues or progresses. That's the right word I'm looking for. I've also been on a trip to Germany with Testo, so I got back on Friday. They took us out there for 3 days, and it was really good to see how they manufacture the products, the history of Testo, and that what we know about them is flue gas analyzers, thermal imaging cameras, HVAC instruments, but they do a whole range of stuff, and it was really interesting to see how they work and what they do and how broad the spectrum is. Now, for me, it's important to understand that these trips shouldn't be seen as free holidays. It actually, the way I see it, it gives me an insight into how these companies work, what they do. It allows me to feedback to them from you guys, and likewise they can then show me stuff that they've been doing, and I can then feed that back to you guys as well. So it's like a two-way thing. I guess, you know, I'm a bit of a messenger in that sense, where, you know, any improvements or anything like that on the products that can be made, I can feed that back to them, they can implement it, and then I basically get the information and I can bring it back to you guys. So that's the way I see it. It's not like I'm not going out there partying, raving or anything like that. I'm going there to understand better about how these companies work and what they do and what they have to offer. And it actually gives me more confidence and solidifies my interests and wanting to work with them, because they are a very good company. They're a very big company and they produce quality products. And so this is why I enjoyed going on these sort of trips, because it just allows me to learn more about the companies and what they do and things like that. There are some new things coming from Testo in 2025. There's something new coming later on this month as well, so keep your eyes peeled. I will be announcing it once I'm allowed to. And it is going to be something which is very useful for a lot of people and affordable as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you do enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for tuning in again. Well, it's a glorious 5th of February today, and I've just got to my first job, which is a Vokera up in the loft. Customers saying they're having some problems with the hot water. Could either be block plate, could be diverter valve. They said the heating's working fine. I've been to this job years ago when I used to do work for Corgi, and the customer kept my number. They've cancelled their Corgi policy and they've called me out today. So let's go inside, let's have a look, see what the problem is, and go from there. I remember that actually what the job was when I came with Corgi. Someone else had been here before me, and the flow isolation valve, they actually snapped the spindle in the closed position, but they then just put the plastic handle on and just went. So the boiler wasn't able to get rid of the heat when they're running the heating, and it just kept locking out. And I was racking my brains thinking, is it the pump? Is it this, that, the other? And then it was only when I took that black plastic handle off, I saw that the spindle was snapped in the closed position. So I got a new isolation valve, swapped it out, and bingo, straight away, everything's working. But let's go and see what's going on with the hot water here. Right, here we have the boiler in question. So they're saying heating's working absolutely fine. I think, if I remember, was there a hive here? There's something here. Yeah, there was a hive here. So heating's working absolutely fine, they're saying. And they said last week the water started going hot and cold, and now it's just completely cold. I don't know where the camera's pointing. But anyway, you probably heard me say that. This is the valve that I replaced last time because, yeah, it was snapped in the off position. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a hot tap, and I want to see, is this getting hot? I mean, it's warm at the moment. I forget on Vokeras which is the flow and which is the return as well, because they're not piped traditionally, are they? You've got cold, hot, gas, and that'll be PRV. I think, yeah, these are the flow and returns, but I can't remember which around they are. But anyway, let me run a hot tap and then see what's going on. Okay, so it wasn't that valve, it was that one that replaced one. You can see it's a lot newer than that one as well. So I'm just trying to figure out which is the flow and the return. So that's our flow, that's our return. And the way I've sussed that out is pump, that goes into the pump. So on combis, pumps are going to be on the return. So that's on the return. And the filter, I wasn't sure if it was on the return. Normally, obviously, we put the filter on the return, but sometimes people put them on the flow. So, which is why I wasn't sure. But yeah, so we've got return, flow, PRV, gas, hot, cold. Let's run a hot tap and see what's going on. Okay, I've got a hot tap running downstairs. So the boiler, I can't actually see if it's even igniting. Yep, it has ignited and that's kettling. It's starting to kettle. Yeah, it's not going down. Yeah, I've got a block plate. That's not really getting any hotter. And on the hot outlet, that's pretty much stone cold. Yeah, boiler's cut out. It's gonna be a block plate. Okay, so I need to take the plate out, give it a clean, and yeah, see what we can do. Now, if you don't work on a lot of Vokeras, that's the drain off there. So where you got the pump, you've got that little star-shaped nozzle. And just put little holes in there. I'm gonna run it straight into the condenser and drain it out through there. Expansion vessel. Oh, it's right here, that's good. So I can recharge the expansion vessel at the same time. And then I can get to one of the screws on the plate from there, as you can see. The other one, I believe, once I whip the PCB case down, I think I can see it from here. And then my plan is to try and slide it out through here. I don't know if that will be the way, because remember, it's going to have lugs that go inside there. So I'm hoping I can then whip it out for this side. If not, on this side, I might have to take out the condense trap and try and get it out this side if I can't do the other side. But let's deal with one issue at a time. So let's start draining this out first. I'm actually probably going to put the camera down because I don't want that to pop off. Right, I'm going to try and set you guys up in a way that hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So everything's drained out. I've run this hose now into a little plumb tub. And the first thing we need to do is obviously take this screw out, and this will allow the PCB. I don't know if the screw needs to come out fully. Yeah, I think it does. Right, so that allows us to do that, which is good. And yeah, now I can clearly get to, let's bring you guys over here. So you can see, can get to that screw, and now we can get to that screw on the plate as well. And I'm hoping, like I said, I can whip it out for the left hand side. So let's get this plate whipped out. Right, so that is a PH2. So let's get a Phillips long reach screwdriver. Crack that, come on. Right, that's cracked. Let's crack this side. This one seems to be a bit more tricky to get though. This was meant to be the easy one, but okay. Right, so I'm just going to loosen them off a bit first. That plate is roasting hot. So, okay, you can hear a little bit of air going in, and I've kept a tap open downstairs, so that should get rid of the domestic water that will be built up inside the plate. Right, I'm just going to let that do its thing. Okay, so we're fully drained out. There was actually quite a bit of water still left inside the plate, so I actually ended up, yeah, look, there's still some coming out. There's always going to be a bit of water in the plate, but I'm just going to put the good old trusty deblower underneath there, just to catch any of the residual water, because there will be some, no doubt. So let's get any electrical connections out the way. Let's just put that all in there. Okay. Now, I'm hoping I can get the plate out. This way. This left hand screw is a bit awkward to get to. Now, it all depends on the lugs on the plate. Yeah, that plate is definitely blocked up. But now, I don't think my idea of trying to get it out this way is going to work, because the block is in the way and the casing is in the way, so it's not going to come out this way. See, is there a way I can get it out underneath? There is not, so I think it's going to have to, I'm going to have to remove the condense trap and take it out that way instead. Yeah, I'm going to remove the condense trap from this side. So I've undone that clip which was there, so that's popped that bit out. Now I need to get this bit up. I just want to make sure whatever condense is left in there, I'm just letting that siphon out. Then I should be able to get the hose off of there. That's the condense trap out. And now I'm hoping this gives me enough room to get the plate out. There's something getting in the way. It is literally the actual lug of the plate that's getting in there. Here we go. Okay, we're nearly out. We're nearly out and we're out. Okay, that wasn't too bad, but the plate is very bad. Come over here, let me show you. Have a look at that. I don't know how clearly it's going to come up on camera, but that is chocker. So let's go outside, put some spirits of salts in this and get it cleaned up and pop it back together. Well, it's taken me probably about a good 20 minutes to get this clean. Went through, I had I think 3/4 of a bottle of spirits of salts, and he went through it all. But that, you can still see there's a little bit of dirt left in there, but I'm not going to be able to get it all out. But it's a damn sight clearer than what it was. I really don't know if it shows up on camera or not. it is really difficult because obviously it's such small holes, but that's cleared up now. And the way I've tested it to make sure it is clear is put it under a garden tap and just turn it on and see if I'm getting water flowing through it, which I am. So I know that's all good. So now just got to slide it back in from the right to the left. I think the O-rings sit inside the, yeah, the O-rings are inside there. So I'll put some silicone grease around there, around the O-rings, and then get that back in and we'll test it again. All right, plate's finally in. It was actually trickier to get it back in than it was to get it out, and that's because where you got the lugs on the plate, you haven't got much room at the back, and also these cables were getting caught at the back. They're trying to slide it in, out, around, everywhere, but it's in now. Before I put the condense trap back, I'm gonna shut the drain off and just fill up, open all the valves, put some pressure in the system, just test it for leaks and everything. And if that's all good, then I'll put the trap back and we'll run the hot water. All right, flow and returns are open. I've pressurized it and that's dropped back down a little bit. So let's top up a bit more pressure. Let's get that to about 1.5 bars, which is fine. I've turned the cold mains on as well. You probably can't hear it, but the bath tap's running, so I'm going to turn that bath tap off, and then we'll just make sure that there aren't any leaks. I mean, nothing's leaking. I'd have seen it by now, especially with the 1.5 bars of pressure in there. And then I'll run the heating first, just to purge the air out of the main heat exchanger. Then we'll run the hot water, make sure that it stays on, and then we're all good. And then I need to price this up for a new install as well. Okay, I'm running a hot tap downstairs. Let's just check first. Hot outlet pipe. Yeah, that's getting hotter. That wasn't even getting hot before at all. So we've got some heat coming off of it, which is good. I'll pop that condense hose back on properly in a minute. And as long as the boiler stays on, it doesn't cut out, hopefully, we should be good. Yeah, that's getting hotter there, and the boiler is staying on. I just need it to stay on for long enough so that I can get a new boiler put in here. They've got a decent flow rate, so I'm going to check all that. It looks like it's decent flow rate coming out the bath taps, but I'm going to do all my checks and everything to make sure what's the right size boiler to put in. We've got a 22 gas line coming in here already, so that's good. And it's just the flow rate and condensers all here. So everything's here basically. It's just a case of rejigging all the pipe work, because obviously it's all disorientated, and then bring it back up in the traditional manner. But the boiler's staying on, so that's definitely a good sign. And yeah, we're out of here for today, and I'll get this priced up for a combi swap, probably a Baxi, because I'm a Baxi man.